Welcome to the Why Not podcast with me, Chrissy Hawkins. In a world where everybody always asks why, I'm here to ask, why not? I'll be breaking down the mindsets of guests as well as my own in a bid to find out what makes people say, why not? Hello everyone and welcome back to the Why Not podcast. Did that sound ready enough? Hopefully it did. Anyway, so today I have another guest on for an interview. I've got Ian Malfi, who is a personal trainer and nutritionist from here in lovely Dublin. We are quite good friends. I know him through my boyfriend Peter. And anyway, today we're going to talk about a little bit about how his gym and how they have overcome or worked and pivoted with what has gone on with the pandemic. But also we have a main part of our discussion is actually about something that happened to Ian last year, in which he had a head injury basically, and how he has come through that. He was told he'd never train again, and his current plan is to prove them that he can in fact train again. And it's really interesting to see what he's done, how he's broken it down, and the fact that he didn't want to give up when he was told he should. So yeah, really interesting podcast today. Really strong on how you overcome adversity, and now Ian isn't fully there yet, but he is coming along with it, and it's really inspirational, I think. So I hope you enjoy today. You may sit back, relax and enjoy, or walk and listen. Haven't said that in a few weeks, but here we go. Okay guys, so everyone, welcome back to the Why Not podcast. Today I have got Ian Malfi with me for a lovely interview. Hello Ian, how are you?
Hey, what's crack, Chris?
Thanks for joining us. So Ian, I'm going to let you tell everybody about yourself. So floor is yours, off you go.
All right, cool. So obviously my name's Ian. I'm a personal trainer / nutritionist working, I suppose, as a personal trainer in Dublin. I got into fitness, I suppose, through probably years ago, through martial arts, and then kind of started coaching a little bit of martial arts, and then just gradually went into personal training and fitness. Probably the main reason, Chrissy, you have me on here today is because of the last 12 months or so. So I'll give you a quick kind of breakdown of what happened there. So I'm into, my training will be quite strength-based / kind of a hybrid-y, like go through phases of like strength, hypertrophy, fitness, whatever it is. But unfortunately, last June, I was squatting and I burst tore a blood vessel or an artery in my brain, and was out for a good while in hospital and stuff. So I was told I'll never kind of train or lift weights again. So yeah, and that's kind of, I have just been sitting on the sidelines, and that's kind of led me up to this point now.
And how did you do that with the blood vessel?
It was literally just kind of, what would you call it? Like short end of the straw. Like it was just unlucky.
Yeah.
Obviously the pressure in my head whilst I was squatting, like, was what I don't want to say caused, because like they didn't even say that's what caused it or anything, but like it's just that created a traumatic environment, I suppose.
Could have contributed to it slightly, maybe.
Yeah, it like triggered it, like and then it just tore. Just, I don't know how exactly it happened, but it happened, and here I
am. So basically just like majority just unlucky, because you know, like some people listen to that and go, "Jeez, I'm never lifting heavy again, that's it."
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've been kind of trying, like I'm trying to not say cause, and we'll just hear what they want to hear and jump on that and think, can't exercise now because you're going to die. So yeah, I'm trying not to link them too much, but like, obviously it was a trigger, but like I think it's one in fucking 100,000 people that happens to or something.
So, okay, yeah, so that's
pretty unlikely, like.
Yeah, I know, you're right there though, people saying that like, I better not do that, like any excuse to avoid exercise, isn't it?
Yeah, and even people close to me, even like my mom and stuff, are like, see, told you that training's bad for you. It's like,
I can actually imagine my mum saying the exact same thing.
Yeah, like anything to just like try prove that training is bad or you shouldn't be doing it or something. Yeah. Told you all
What's
those
the reaction
things.
to your current plans now?
She's skeptical, but like, I don't know, like what else can you do? I think a lot of people, not a lot of people, like I don't even know a lot of people, but like a few people probably close to me, like would have been kind of just under the impression that like, all right, this thing has happened, so that's it now. Like just kind of pack it in. Like you had your run. Like stop doing any kind of physical activity. And like there was even like some people like close to me, like kind of thinking, just presuming that like my career, or like they probably wouldn't even call it a career, but like my
Yeah,
career
that is
in
career.
fitness is over.
Yeah.
So they become like, oh, you're not going to keep training people, surely. And it's like, well, what?
Hold on a minute. Why couldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, people's kind of perception of it was like, all right, like you're going to get a real job now, aren't you? And you're going to stop lifting the weights and kind of, yeah. So
I love that when they refer to it as a real job. It's like, oh, sorry, does this not count as a real job? Hold on a minute.
yeah, my man's just the most stereotypical with that. Like it's just, yeah, why don't you just get a safe, secure council job or something? It's like, oh man.
I can't, like, obviously most listeners won't know you, but like from knowing you, like I can't imagine you doing anything like that. And
Yeah.
also when it happened as well, I was like, my first thought was like, you're going to find a way around this. And you could see straight away from your post on Instagram, you're figuring out things you could do.
Yeah, like it was a bit of a, like, if I go back to, like, I think that kind of attitude, like, probably got me in trouble in the first place, but I think it will probably get me out of it as well. So when it initially happened, I was squatting, I think it was a Wednesday, and I was just doing crazy volume, like reps wise, like I was doing max reps. It was towards the end of a massive pain in the back of my head.
Yeah.
So I racked the barbell in and kind of basically fell to the ground, and massive headache. And then it kind of went away throughout the next day and stuff. And then I took a couple of days off training, and then over the next few days, I kind of started getting back into like some isolation stuff. I was like, oh yeah, feeling okay now. And then like exactly a week after it, the headache had kind of subsided to an extent. And I was like, all right, I'll dip my toe in again and see where I'm at. So I got back squatting. And I didn't plan on like maxing out or anything like that. Like I wasn't going crazy. But yeah, I was a few reps in, and like it came back twofold. So I do kind of question on like, maybe if I had to just fucking listen to my body in the first place and just stopped, like not went, oh no, I'll give it a go, maybe it wouldn't be as bad. But yeah,
And was that like the second time? Was that when you decided to go to the doctor and find out about it?
Yeah, it was actually a mad story. So it was really bad. I kind of fell to the ground in the gym. I couldn't really open my eyes or anything. And a couple of people I worked with, like Lauren and Shane, were there, and they brought us to the GP. The GP sent us into Vincent's, and they actually sent me home. Yeah, I was in the waiting room. It was fucking wild. Like I was in the waiting room, and I don't know if she was a doctor or a nurse, I'm not sure. She came over to me, and she's like, what are you in for? And I said, a head injury. I'm not sure exactly what it is. And she's like, is it serious? And I was like, I don't know. Like, that's why I'm fucking here.
Yeah. You tell me.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you tell me exactly. I was like, here, or she turns around and she goes, listen, there's about a 7-hour wait. You should like maybe think about going home. And I was like, I don't know, like I have a head injury, like I'm not sure I should go home. And I was like, what do you think I should do? And she's like, oh well, it's up to you. Like if you think it's serious, you can stay, but it's gonna be a 7-hour wait, or else if you think it's not that bad, you can go home. So I was like, all right, I'll go home. Like, so I went home, and then I think I was talking to a couple of people in the meantime that were just kind of like, get the fuck back into hospital. Like, I went back in that night and got a scan, and then they were like, no, you're grand. It's just a migraine. And I was like, okay. I go, well, like, I was like, I'm not like, I've experienced pain before, like, and this is unlike anything I've ever felt. Like, I was like, I'm not exactly, like, it's quite bad. Like, so I was like, what if it's still there, and like at what stage do I come back, or blah blah blah? And he goes, if you still have headaches in a week, come back. So about 6 days later, it was like still bad. So I said, I go, you know Dave McGuinness?
I know the name, yes.
You know, we've met him, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say I met him, yeah.
Yeah, but he works in Beaumont, so I rang him, and then he was like, "Yeah, get into Beaumont." So yeah, I went in, and then next thing I was in there for a few days. Yeah, I was in there for a few days, and then they found out what it was, and then I remember when they found out what it was. The consultant came down to me, and kind of told me, and like straight away I was like, "Great, like it's a muscle, it's a tissue, like it can heal." And she was kind of like, I wouldn't be so confident. Like, it's not like guaranteed that it will heal. Like, there's plenty, it might not heal. So I was like, fuck. So I was like, all right, what's the fucking road here? Like, what's the path? And it was basically like, don't do anything for ages until like you get healed or whatever. So I went back like a month later for like a scan. And they showed like a little bit of healing, but like not a whole lot. But they're happy. Yeah, they're happy enough with it. They're like, it's on the right path. And then at that stage, they were like, listen, you can start doing like light aerobic stuff, like fucking like walking, like what, like light jog, whatever it is. So I was like, all right. So then I probably took that, like, I probably went too hard too soon. Like I started doing 5Ks and 10Ks and stuff. And then I started doing mobility, and then I kind of started doing like some like more loaded mobility and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I had like a couple of weeks when it was just came back again. I was like, fuck. Well, not, they didn't come back again, but like the symptoms got worse than they had been. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to do it. So I didn't do it now until recently. Yeah.
How long did you take off then after the second time you came back?
Months. I think it was like, that was kind of August. So August to January.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So a good while.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think I was supposed to get a phone call. I was supposed to get a scan in January. I think what happened, I thought I was supposed to get a scan in January, but then it turns out it was just like a phone call checkup thing. And your man was kind of on the phone thinking like, he was kind of surprised I was still getting symptoms and that. But he kind of said, he was a neurologist as well. And he was kind of like, there's no reason why you can't do like isolation stuff and aerobic stuff and all that kind of stuff. Like, so yeah, when he kind of said that, I was like, all right, like it's time to get on it. But like I figured I'm trying to do it properly this time. Like I'm not just like gonna be stubborn and be like, no, I'm gonna train and like fucking kill myself. So I'm trying to do it as like scientifically as possible, I suppose. I reached out to a dude in Scotland, Andy McKenzie. He's kind of like a strength coach, rehab guy.
Yeah.
Started working with him a little bit. He gave us some pretty cool insights in like what to track, what to monitor, like what to keep an eye out for and stuff, and what my training should kind of look like. So he was programming for me at the start. He did like a couple of weeks. He was like, here, I'm actually not like overly comfortable like programming for this situation, like in a remote sense. He was like, I'd happy to coach you like if it was in a gym or whatever, but like he was like, I'm just not completely comfortable. And his kind of like, I have to respect it, like, but his thinking was, or his justification or where he was coming from was like, he was like, the doctors haven't really given you guidelines to work within or anything like that. Like, so he's like, I'm not putting myself at, like putting my hand out to be slapped kind of thing to, yeah, I was like, yeah, fair enough. So I've been working with one of the lads I actually coach with, Jay Kane. So he's a brilliant coach as well. I just didn't get him to do it at the start because I kind of wanted someone that I didn't know, someone objective, you know. But yeah, me and Jay sat down, like he's a fucking wealth of knowledge. So yeah, he's been kind of programming since.
And then does he tell you to sit down when you need to stop and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, it's very much like day by day. Like it's funny because it's mad how like a symptom or whatever can, like, so like Instagram is great as in like, so I put up obviously training videos every now and then. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna prove them wrong and stuff like, but like I suppose what you don't see is like the odd day where like my head is just banging and it's like, fuck this, fuck everybody, fuck this. Like like those days are tough, I suppose, but like I don't know.
The thing with Instagram, isn't it? It's the highlight reel. You showed them everything that's going good.
Yeah. Like no one wants to hear you moaning, so like you don't put up those days. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see any other choice, but like I think the reason why I started to kind of look into train. Like, well, no, I was always going to look into it, but I think a bit of an eye opener was or something that got me thinking was like kind of around October or so. Like it was a tough transition to go from like training most days, like loving training, and then just to be told you can never do it again. So I almost had to. It was almost like someone died or something. I kind of just had to move, like just like forget about it like for a while or whatever. And then I think it was around October. So myself and Chris were in. Remember there was like a month or so when there was like not as many restrictions. Remember
yeah.
A break. So we had like a few days in town, and then we had a few days in Wicklow. And I remember the place we stayed in town was, we had to park like 20 minutes away from the hotel. And I was like carrying like all the suitcases and stuff. And there must have been like 20 odd kilos to say. And I carried them for like 20 minutes, and I was like, I actually felt pretty good there. And then I was like, shit, like if I can do that, like, well, then that means like I can probably do that every day. And then if I can do that every day, then next month I just kind of thought about it in that kind of step progression way. And that like, all right, if I can just kind of calculate out like the volume of work done and then transfer that into kind of weights or aerobic work.
Yeah.
That was kind of the initial thing. And then started talking to Jay about it, and he was like, yeah, that makes sense. So that's kind of the way we've been. It's very fucking slow. Like,
Yeah.
There's so many variables in that. Like, you can write a program and that's all well and good and it makes sense. But like, say for example, this week, what day is today? Thursday. Train on Monday. And then my session on Tuesday had to be like half of what it was supposed to be because like I was getting dizzy and shit. Like, so I was like, all right, so that's half of what it's supposed to be. And then like bit of a headache yesterday. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to train today. And then today I'm going to go down and it's probably going to be like half of what it's supposed to be as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be a long road, but I'll get back. Like,
yeah. Oh, the same way it sounds that you will. Like there's like, I think the way you're talking about it as well, it's like, you know, you have to do it this way. You may not be happy about it, but you'd rather you do it that way than give up altogether.
Yeah, like exactly. The time's gonna pass anyway. If I can come out the other side and get back to some level of strength and fitness, and like I'm sure like the lessons that I'll learn along the way will be pretty valuable. Like, yeah, I think it's something else we were talking about is like you just have to kind of redefine what strong is and what fit is. Like,
yeah.
So previously I probably would have been a little bit caught up on like, oh, I want to get a bigger deadlift or a bigger this or a bigger that. Like,
yeah.
But I suppose it's only kind of one aspect of strength. It's just redefining what that is. And yeah, I think I was actually listening to I think it was Matthew McConaughey's book recently, and he had a really good thing in it, and he was talking about like when stuff arises or situations happen, and what did he say? He said you've got three options basically.
Yeah.
So it's like pivot, so change direction, persist, so like fucking keep going. And I can't remember the other one. I think it was a P, so it was probably 3 Ps.
Yeah.
But the last one was basically fucking lie down and die or give up. Like, so yeah, it's like give up, fucking change direction, or figure out a way to keep on going. So I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And they're in general, they're your three choices, aren't they?
That's true. Yeah, I think most people take the third option, don't they?
Which one is that?
Lie down and die.
Yeah, probably. I wasn't going to take that one.
No, I can't. I actually genuinely can't imagine.
I actually said
that
it to the doctor as well. I was it was funny when I was talking to the doctor, and I was trying to get guidelines out of them in terms of exercise, and I was like, I'm going to exercise, so like, you're gonna have to give me guidelines, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think I remember his face because I was like, if you're gonna tell me I can't do any kind of exercise forever, you may as well take me at the back and fucking shoot me. It's game over for me, like.
That's I think the one downside. Like, I'm nothing against doctors and stuff like that, and like they are incredibly qualified. You know, they've put a lot of work into it. But the other thing is like a lot of them exercise stuff like that isn't really a big portion of what they do. So that if you go, I'm going to keep doing that, they're like, but why?
Yeah, I think like you can't blame them either. I think as far as they're concerned, like if I'm basis, if like shit is gone, like if shit is bad, I like take it back a bit or whatever. Like, but
Yeah.
in general, like week by week, if say for example the first week I had like all greens but like 4 or 5 ambers,
Yeah.
as long as like I don't have like 6 ambers the next week. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm going in the right direction. So that's kind of, yeah, that's where I'm at with that's kind of one form of progression, I suppose. Yeah.
So you have it really broken down.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, this week I had to just stop because
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like because pain is so like subjective at the same time as well. Like just like the more I look into it, the more confusing it gets.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's fucking mad. So I'm like, am I creating symptoms by thinking about the symptoms and recording the symptoms? So I decided this week I'm just not gonna track them for a week and see how it goes. It's like I suppose it goes down to how do you define health like as well. But like in their eyes, it's like, yeah, listen, you're not dead. You've no like, okay, you might have a few symptoms or whatever, but like you're not in any way really inhibited apart from like you can't lift heavy weights and shit. Like, but so in their eyes, like job done. Like it's get on with it. Like get over. Like you can't lift a few weights, get over it. Like which you can see their point of view as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like just throwing all exercise under the same umbrella is probably not right. Like, you know, because like then I like, because for example, like my biggest thing trying to figure out was like, well, what am I trying to avoid when they're saying don't exercise? Because like what like stimulation or what effect am I trying to avoid? Because surely that could happen outside of lifting weights as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like you're still going to be putting your, like, say for instance you're doing cardio, like you're still going to be putting your blood vessels and stuff under pressure. Maybe not the same time, like it could be a lighter, longer pressure, but you're still doing something. If that's a weak area, it could still cause a headache potentially.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's just a gradual process. Yeah. It's
do you find it improving?
Yeah, I think so. I'm going through like I've actually stopped it this week because I don't want to get just caught up on doing it. But I'm tracking like headaches in kind of like a traffic light system. So like green, amber, red, and then I've just split the day up into like morning, afternoon, evening.
Yeah.
And I did like 1 or 2 kind of control weeks, like as in like before I started training. I just took note of like symptoms, say, and then when I started training, then I'd do the same. So
do you think you downgrade it sometimes as well?
What you mean?
Or upgrade it? Like, so for instance, like if you're like, oh, that headache, it's kind of between an amber and a green, but
yeah, that's another
like
thing. Yeah.
I want to train tomorrow, so I'll make it a green.
Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah. That's it's so subjective as well. Like I'm trying to be as objective as possible. But if I know, for example, like say I was like, oh, I got 4 ambers last week, and then like say this week I'm on 3 and it's fucking Sunday, and like I have a bit of a fucking, I'm like, maybe that's an amber. I'll give it a like, yeah. That's what I mean about when I was like, I think the attitude of pushing on is either gonna fucking get me through it or it's either gonna kill me.
Yeah.
Either get me through it. Yeah, I don't know. Like no one fucking knows. Like, because even when I was talking to the doctor the last time in January, and he was surprised to hear I was still getting symptoms. And
really?
Yeah, he was like he wasn't really basing it off anything. Like he was going off of like my last scan I got in July, which was like whatever 7 months ago or something. And he was like, he basically said like between the 2 scans, in June and July, there was X amount of progress, say. So he was like, we're kind of presuming between like July and now that like it would be kind of healed. So yeah, I don't know. I was kind of like, that's a bit of a presumption, but no.
Yeah, you should not take the scan and then see how it's going. Like,
I actually had to push him for a scan, so I'm getting one now next month. But what he was kind of saying like, going by the progression and presuming that progression continued on, like you shouldn't really be getting headaches. And I was like, all right, like, well, I am. So like, what's your take on the cause? Like, so there's kind of there's like obviously a physical, and then there's like a mental. So like physical could literally be like, okay, yeah, it's healed, but like blood flow isn't as efficient through it and stuff, and it's stressing, and so that's causing some kind of thing. Or else like the kind of mental side of it is like, yeah, you've had a traumatic fucking brain injury, whatever it is. So like your nervous system is almost remembering the pain, and it's just like a habit now almost, which I think is probably a combination of both. Because like some days I'll feel like, oh, like massive headache, and then like say like one of the lads comes in the house or something, and I'm like, oh, what's the crack? Like chatting away, and then like a couple of minutes later I'm like, oh, my headache's gone. I'm like, did I really have a headache, or like was I just bringing that on?
It's because you're distracted as well.
Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, it's a mad one. Yeah, I don't know. The scan next month should give me a good idea of where I'm at. Like, yeah, I don't know.
That'd be really interesting to see what that comes up with. Like,
yeah, it's been a mad year. It's just fucking, yeah.
I can't believe that happened in June.
Yeah.
I swear to God, like I have no concept of time anymore, so I still haven't like processed it's March. But like when you said June, I was like, I thought that happened in like September or something.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Did you see that meme the other day? It was gas. It was like, you know the meme with the two spacemen, and they're like looking at Earth, and like the one looking at Earth is like was like, oh, it's March, and then like the guy behind him with the gun is like, always has been, because like this year is just like
it's just never going.
It's a massive number.
Yes, it's as I came up the other day, it's like it's 1 year since RTE reported the first case in Ireland. Thanks for that reminder.
2-week lockdown.
2-week lockdown, yeah.
And lockdown, like I remember the first lockdown, I was actually really enjoying it. It was like sunshine. It was like
I spent so much time on my balcony.
Yeah.
Because our balcony is like facing the sun, so I was just like,
yeah, it was training out the back garden, getting a tan. Yeah, it was all good.
I still train. We have our gym is here in our bedroom.
Can you get into are you still working at Ignite?
Yeah, but I haven't been over because at the start of the last one, when it was really high, like my dad was really sick last year, so I was like, I'm just not going anywhere just in case. Yeah. So and then I got really lazy, and it's really easy for me to roll out of bed and just train beside my bed. So that's what I've done since. Yeah,
why not?
Yeah. How have you guys adapted? How is your, like, because obviously you're in a gym, I'm in a gym, we can't work technically, but how have you guys adapted with the guidelines and stuff like that, obviously?
How have we adapted? So it's kind of been a massive almost experiment, I suppose. So like rewind to last year in the first one, obviously we thought it was going to be like a few weeks or whatever. So I can't remember, what we did was we actually created this Facebook group, and we actually pushed it. We like put like marketing behind it and stuff, and there's like a couple of thousand people in it or something.
Oh yeah.
And obviously all our clients were in it and stuff, and like we were taking turns doing like the live sessions every day. So it was like 1 in the AM, 1 in the PM. And that was all good. It was like a bit of banter and stuff. And then we actually had there was loads of effort put into it. We had like motivational speakers in. We had like we had like a magician / illusionist dude in. He was deadly, but he came through the course in the gym, and that's how the lads knew him. We had loads we had different people on, and we did like the Zoom quizzes and stuff. Like it was great crack. And then I think over time, did we come out of lockdown a little bit in the summer then?
We did, yeah. We had a couple of months where we were allowed out.
Was the gyms was open then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was from I think the start of June until October.
Yeah, so we were obviously back training then. And then the second lockdown happened because the main business in our building, like they're associated, I suppose, is like the personal training college and then the gym. So adult education was still allowed to run. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we did in the second one. And then we went into lockdown again in like, what was it, October, November?
Yeah, 6 weeks in October. Then we got 2 weeks, and then after Christmas it all went again.
Oh yeah. So we stopped doing the live ones anyway. I think a lot of just the kind of buzz around it or whatever, like the clients just weren't really into doing them. Like they just, it wasn't their cup of tea. Like, yeah, they just weren't overly into it. Like, then we, like so the way we run the gym is like individual design. So it's like small group, but each client is coached through their True Coach app, like an app on their phone.
Okay.
So they all have a program, their own individual program based off of like assessment where they're at, and then obviously where they want to go. So then when we went to lockdown, like it was kind of like the second time, say, so the first time it was all just online classes, and then when we went to lockdown the second time, it was like, all right, like we were obviously not really into the online classes, so we're gonna continue coaching through True Coach.
Yeah.
And like some of them got like nutrition coaching, some of them just got like their at-home sessions delivered to their phone. But I think like it's difficult because like I can't even remember. I haven't actually done the numbers recently, but I'd say like the majority, like not like all of them, like but more than half, I'd say, have like dropped off, especially like after Christmas.
Yeah.
Like more and more it goes on, like just gradually people drop off. But I think like it's funny because like a couple of people have actually signed up like for online coaching, and the difference between like there's like a noticeable difference between like say clients that were in the gym, and then we obviously was kind of transferred them over to online, and then people who joined online for online training. The people who came from the gym are just like that's not what they got into. Like, do you know what I mean? They didn't sign up for online coaching.
Yeah.
Like into it, a little bit less enthusiastic about it, and they're kind of slowly dropping off or whatever. They just don't. It's not what they signed up for really. But the people that signed up just to do online, like they're flying. Like they're doing all their check-ins, like filling in all their programs, doing their nutrition and stuff. So
they're not missing the gym because they were never there.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just the frame that they're coming in on. I think like it's just I don't know, it's tough. The gym is probably just hanging in there, to be honest with you. We're lucky in the sense that we have the academy going. That's flying. So in terms of, like you said about pivoting, in terms of the academy, that was obviously all in person before. So last March, I wasn't really involved in the academy at all. Like when lockdown happened, I was just full time in the gym. But last March, in fairness to the lads, they pivoted really fast. So it was like, all right, like it's time to go online for the academy. So they started putting all of the classroom stuff like in Google Classroom and creating that kind of system. So as soon as Adult Education was able to get back up and running, they had the online thing built and they were selling it. So
that's deadly.
Yeah, it's really efficient. So the client or the students are only in like a couple of days a week or whatever to do their practicals. And they're all boxed off into pods and all the rest. So the academy's flying. So
they're still running courses and everything.
Yeah. And so they've actually opened up in Galway and Cork now.
That's deadly, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be happening in May. So being flat out, like kind of, we were trying to find locations, and then the lads are obviously doing all the marketing for it. And then because we had that time in the middle now, we have like a fair bit of time like that. We're not coaching and stuff. So it's brilliant. Like we've had time to kind of go into the course and update it and like, just had loads of time to update it and make it better, I suppose. Yeah, that's been good.
So making use of the time, it's like,
yeah.
So seeing an opportunity and went for it.
Yeah, it's been there's pros and cons, I suppose, isn't there? Like to the whole lockdown thing. It's given us time to do things that we probably never would have been able to do. But it's also frustrating as fuck.
Yeah. It's that thing, it's all, you know, as well, like things you've been avoiding or things you know you kind of need to do, but it's not really imminent, so you just kind of forget about it.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, oh, no excuse, I literally have to do this, or go crazy looking at the four walls.
Yeah. Like I just finished the like the nutrition module in a while, so I was like, right, I'll dig into that. Like I was kind of full time at it for the last 2 weeks. I'm just about to finish it, but I was just thinking today, like, there's no way, like, if you're coaching full time,
yeah,
and like say the lads are tutoring full time and stuff, like you'd never get anything like that done. Like, yeah, so that's been, I suppose, a positive.
So there are some things.
Yeah.
It's not all shite.
It's not all shite. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's everything I have to ask you, I think, unless there's anything else you want to add.
I don't think so, no.
All right, thanks again for joining us today, Ian. Can you tell everybody where they can find you, and also if you want to tell them about the academy and everything, you can as well?
My name is just Ian Malfi on Instagram. I think there's nothing, it's just like Ian Malfi _ or something. Then yeah, so obviously just saying to Chrissy, we've been putting a lot of work into the academy recently, so we're opening up two new locations. So anyone listening in Cork or Galway, Elite Fitness and Performance Academy is coming to Cork and Galway, best PT course in the country, so jump on it.
There you go, guys. This is your call to action.
Yeah, do it.
And you don't have to avoid it because of lockdown, because they can do a lot of it online as well.
Yeah. Beat the system.
But yeah, so thanks again for joining me, Ian, and thanks everyone for listening, and hope you all enjoyed this.
Thank you again for listening to the Why Not podcast. It really means a lot that you are listening in, and I would love if you could please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or subscribe on Spotify. And always, I'd love to hear feedback personally, so if you do want to leave me a message and let me know how you found the podcast, please do.